His professional experience as journalist. He is a regular columnist at main Indonesian newspapers including Kompas Koran, Business Indonesia, Observer. Is a regular appearance in TV, radio broadcastings related to maritime sector, including CNBC Indonesia, Metro TV. Former correspondent for the London-based shipping newspaper Lloyd's List. His professional experience as maritime expert includes director and founder of National Maritime Institute, Namarin, Jakarta-based maritime focused non-governmental organization, contribution to various national and international conferences on maritime security in Indonesia, Asia and Japan, and his academic experience consists of a degree in this field of study of maritime security, Rajaratnam School of International Studies, Singapore, various intensive training in journalism and communication, currently lecturer at University of Persada, Indonesia in journalism. And his professional interest includes logistics between Europe and Asia, maritime security, energy transition in maritime sector. We are very privileged to have you amongst us, sir. And the format of the SOAFAL oration is like this. After this introduction, you will be speaking for 30 minutes, and then there will be an interaction of 20 to 25 minutes. So it will be more interactive and less monologue. So with these words, now I will request today's speaker, Mr. Siswanto Rusti, to kindly speak on today's topic, maritime security of Indonesia in the larger context of Indo-Pacific conflicts. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nakishita. It's good to have you here in my screen, and good evening, everybody. Namaste from Jakarta. Before I start my presentation, could you prepare for me, Dr. Nakishita, my presentations, because I don't understand much about sharing my presentation. Could you?
Okay. So should I share your presentation? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let me do. Yes. Let me do that. Just wait, please. Just wait.
Okay.
I will do the presentation for you. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. Once again.
Yes, please. You continue. I am just finding out your.
Once again, thank you very much, guys, for having me this evening, Jakarta Times. It is my honor to present my thoughts, my insights to you about Indonesia maritime security, because Indonesia is, the biggest, the heavyweights in Southeast Asia in terms of maritime domains, water. So maritime security is an issue for Indonesia, at least for its academic cycle. But we will see in my presentations the loops for engagement in maritime security in the side of the government. So let me start with my presentation. Can
Yes, yes. Just because it is in the WhatsApp, so I am taking little amount of time. Just wait. It will come out. Yes.
Usually, I use a Zoom, but today we use a Microsoft. So,
No problem, no problem. Just I am sharing. Just. Is this screen visible?
not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Just wait. Just wait. Let me try.
I'm also trying here.
Just wait. I have also called someone. So
I'm,
just wait. 1 minute.
ah, okay. I see my presentation, sir.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, this is my presentations, ladies and gentlemen. The title is Maritime Security of Indonesia in the larger context of Indo-Pacific conflicts. The title is suggested by Professor Nakichita, so I don't make any adjustment to the title. This is my accreditations, Director of National Maritime Institute, Namarin. I think in India, you also have National Maritime Foundation, right? So this is a different, a kind of different institutions, but sounds similar for somebody or someone's. Okay, next. I want to share my hard facts before we continue our discussions. the first one is by doctrine, Indonesia maritime or defense security is not maritime concentrated actually. So we have what we call here in Indonesia presidential regulations or Perpres number 8 year 2021. Our maritime defense or our maritime security is a kind of brown water. This means the Indonesian Navy, our fighting arms at the sea, or in locally we call it TNIAL, patrols heavily its coastal water. So our capability, our navy is a coastal defense, not like, for example, India or China or even the US. They can power projections. We cannot, because we have many or multiple limitations for the task. And in terms of defense, we call the condition is a big island defense strategy. So we have five islands, big islands: Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Papua. This is our big islands, 5 big islands. And our maritime defense, our maritime security is plotted to secure, to defend these 5 islands. So we wait. In other words, we wait our enemy if they want to come to Indonesia in these islands. We don't face them at the sea before they enter our territory. I mean, our island. So this what I mean with big islands defense strategy. And then the other facts, maritime surveillance capability is kind of mediocre. We have a surveillance equipment. We call it integrated maritime surveillance system, IMSS. It's only includes 18 coastal posts. So you can imagine we have about 17,000 islands, but we only have 18 coastal posts. And then we have 11 automatic identification system, AIS, for monitoring ships movement in our water territories. We only have 11 radar for that. So you can again imagine how fragile our maritime security is. And these posts located in Jakarta, Surabaya, Batam, and then Manado, and also in Papua. So only limited area that posts or that have radar or maritime surveillance. So maybe you will see or already seen many reports that we have what we call human trafficking along our long coastal cannot be monitored by our our authorities, maritime authorities. In terms of coverage area, our radar system, our AI system only cover 1,206 square kilometer of Malacca Strait, and then 1,285 square meter of Sulawesi Island. So again, you can see we have a very limited capacity in maritime security surveillance. Next, please. In terms of actor, we have two kind of actor in maritime security or maritime defense. The main is our Navy or TNIAL, we call it. This is a military, and then we also have Bakamla, Indonesian Maritime Security Agency. Some people, some observer call it a mini navy because almost all of its personnel, I think more than half of the personnel coming from our navy, our TNI, and then some from marine police and some from fisheries department. So we have multiple actors to conduct maritime security and maritime defense. And unfortunately, some of these institutions have clashed each other in terms of when seizing commercial vessels transversing our water territory. For example, maybe TNAIL says or detain a vessel and then release it not far from that point, and then Bakamla coming in to detain the same vessels. We have so many cases reported by our media describing these situations. So this is what I mean by multiple actor. We also have other agencies like Marine Police and then Ministry of Transport, Coast Guard Unit or KPLP. This is civilians. Bakamla actually is a civilians, not a military. But because a big part of the personnel coming from TNI or our Navy, the culture is a little bit military. They wear military ranks. They also have a military command system and so on. So this is what we call, as I mentioned earlier, is a mini Navy. And then we have information sharing. We do have several institutions, both under military, TNI, and then under Bakamla. Those under military is named Maritime Information Center. This is a military unit led by a one-star admiral or first admiral, and this unit is under our armed forces headquarters. Theoretically, this institution gather all informations from various maritime law enforcement agency in Indonesia, like Marine Police, Coast Guard Unit of Ministry of Transport, and then Fisheries Agency. But so far, we don't see their statistic. So it is quite funny to have these institutions, because they don't, in my observation, they don't publish any statistic regarding uh, piracy, armed robbery. Meanwhile, Information Fusion Center in Singapore, they produce weekly, monthly, half-year reports on maritime security situations in the states of Malacca and states of Singapore, where Indonesia is adjacent to the water. So again, for me, it's quite funny because our Maritime Information Center under our armed forces headquarters cannot produce any statistic. Sorry. The other is Indonesia Maritime Information Center, or we call it IMIC under Bakamla. This is actually a similar, similar architecture with the former, I mean, Maritime Information Center. This is, similar actually in terms of structure, but the difference is this one is under Bakamla, under our Indonesia Maritime Security Agency. This information sharing is in my observation is a little bit good, because they have produced a statistic regarding armed robbery, thievery, and then piracy. But they only they only relaying those produced by Information Fusion Center in Singapore, and sometimes from recap in also Singapore. So they don't produce their own statistic. This because they don't have enough equipment to monitor crimes at the sea, like IFC or recap in Singapore. Next, please. Okay, this is I'm trying to bring you to what I have said about Indonesian conditions or maritime or maritime security or maritime defense relating to regional cooperations. Indonesia actually involved in almost regional maritime security cooperation establishment in the region, whether in Southeast Asian or Indo-Pacific. But our involvement is mostly in nominal mode. So we only attending, only coming when invited by Australia, by Japan, by the US, but we don't closely cooperate with the countries, especially in what we call AUKUS or Quad, because we have different a kind of geopolitical interests. So we do have cooperations, but in nominal mode. But as a heavyweight of Southeast Asians, Indonesia also have initiative uh, to form regional cooperation on maritime security or maritime defense. One is ASEAN Chief of Navy meetings. Indonesia is one of the founding countries of this forum, this group. And then recently, our Bakamla, Indonesian Maritime Security Agency, just setting up ASEAN Coast Guard Forum, involving so far Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, and I forget. Actually, I have written column for this ASEAN Coast Guard Forum in if I'm not wrong, in Jakarta Post or Independent Observer about this. So ASEAN Coast Guard Forum is our initiatives carried out by our Bakamla. So we do have intention to cooperate with regional neighbor in maritime security and maritime defense. But maybe this is only an initiative because we lack of equipment, and we also lack of budget. So if you want to set up a regional institution, you have to be prepared, or you have to be ready to fund the institution. So we don't have such a capacity. For example, actually, we are the participants of RECAP, regional cooperation agreements against piracy and ships, armed robbery against ships in Asia Pacific. Actually, we are one of the initial countries to discuss the establishment of the institution, but we quit the negotiations when the member of the ASEAN discussing how to funding the institution. So now we are out of RECAP, similar with Malaysia, but Malaysia is more active than Indonesia. But fortunately, in recent forums, we send many delegations to RECAP events, like Nautical Forum in Singapore. So we are not totally out of the institution. I mean RECAP. Next, so we Indonesia involved in Indo-Pacific regions, especially Western Pacific Naval Symposium, WVNS, but only attending, sending our officer to discuss, not more than that. So again, this is a nominal mode. In my predictions, Indonesia will not engage with Indo-Pacific activity like AUKUS or Quad. So and this already already stated in Asian Outlook of Indo-Pacific, AOIP, released by ASEAN Secretariat. That's for some observer, that's an Indonesian stance actually. Indonesia is, non-alignment, one of non-alignment of movement founders. So Indonesia wants to be independent from whatever, Australia, America, Japan, or UK. That's I call it geopolitical ideology. As a non-alignment, Indonesia will not enter serious, quote unquote, serious involvement in larger maritime security establishment. But of course, we will still commit to participate by sending our delegation, involving in discussion. I think we can do that, but we cannot going forward more than that. And then, as you already know from my earlier presentation, we lack so many preconditions. We lack of maritime security equipments. We lack of posture to involve in broader maritime security arena, and then we also have limited personnel to engage in maritime security, and also we do have internal or domestic problems, maritime law enforcement. We have so many homeworks to do. So I think regional cooperation in the larger Indo-Pacific is something beyond us. Next, please. Okay, I think that's my presentation, Dr. Nakiceta. Sukriya and Namaskar.
Thank you, Mr. Siswanto. It was a very good lecture, though it was a brief one, but you covered many points. So we have got enough time for discussion. So in that respect, we are really fortunate to discuss a lot of questions. Now I will start. There are maybe in the chat box, let me see. Somebody has raised hand. Narayan Mallik, you can ask your question. Narayan? Yes, Narayan, you can ask your question for chat box. In the chat box, there are some questions in the chat box. I will take one after the another. Why Indonesia is mostly in nominal mode?
Okay, I take this one first. From Mr. Sanjaya Kumar
Gadai. Yes. Hey.
Yeah, why Indonesia is mostly in nominal mode? First of all, we have our doctrine, especially military doctrine, is we don't have power projection. We cannot do that. Power projection like US, like UK, or currently France and India, China. We don't have the doctrine in our military, especially our Navy. We don't have. So we are not prepared to be engaged in more dominant or beyond nominal mode. That's one point. The other is our budget limitations. You know, we our navy is very ill funded. Sorry to say this, ill funded. You know, uh, we do have more than 200 vessels. We do have more than 200 warships. But you know what? Only half of them can be deployed because of budget limitations. And then from that half, we must divide half again. So our ready to fight, our ready to operations warship is, let's say, 50 warships. So this is, for me, is very nominal, right? To participate in more aggressive, more power projections mode, to participate in maritime security or maritime defense like other countries in Southeast Asians. And this is for me is shameful, because we are the biggest in Southeast Asians, but we have limited capacity, we have limited capability to engage in maritime security. So these 2 points is make Indonesia is nominal mode. I think
Thank you.
that's
Yes.
my question.
Sorry. Please continue.
Okay, please.
My point is that is there no naval threats from other countries? Probably that's why Indonesia is in nominal mode and it is not spending more on navy. So what are the constraints? Why Indonesia is not spending on navy? Probably there are no naval challenges from other countries. Is it so?
We do have a challenge, especially from China, you see, but as already open to the public, we don't have, for example, our Bakamla petrol vessels. These vessels have no guns, you see, like China Coast Guard. So when our vessel encounters China Coast Guard vessels, we cannot do anything because we don't have weapon on our vessels. Why we don't have vessels? Because we don't have money to buy the weapon. And then Bakamla is not at least until now, Bakamla is not our military fighting arms. This is civilians institution. So again, Sir Nikita, we do have a challenge, but and at some time, at certain degrees, we do have response to the challenge, but we don't have deterrence effect to our what we call to our adversaries or our enemies. So that's my point, sir.
Okay, thank you. And then probably you have answered this question. Still, let me read it out by Narayan Malli. Sir, what are the challenges and opportunities from connectivity strategies to maritime security in the Indo-Pacific?
Yeah, this is again how okay, Indonesia already declared by President Jokowi's global maritime fulcrum. So this is like an access from Pacific to Indian Ocean, and from Indian Ocean to the Pacific Oceans. So Indonesia actually have opportunities from these situations. Uh, this also opportunity in connecting uh, countries in Asian, in Indian Oceans and Pacific Oceans. But again, you see, we cannot do that. Singapore already take this role, and at certain degrees, Malaysia following Singapore in connecting as countries in Indo-Pacific, in Indian Ocean, in Pacific, in terms of commercial shipping. So so uh, again, we because of what we cannot do this. First of all, because Singapore already that big, that powerful, we cannot compete with the Singapore. And
thank you.
And
There is another question.
yes.
I wanted to know about all the factors to strengthen the maritime bonds of India with Indonesia, other than the military and maritime exercises, from your perspective.
Okay. I think this one. Okay. I think India and Indonesia already in close, in close relationships. Our Bakamla already organized joint exercise with Indian Coast Guard in Andaman and Nicobar. I think last year or 2 years ago. So Indonesia and India, especially their Coast Guard, already in close contact. But in terms of economy, we still need more efforts to link India and Indonesia. For example, we don't have direct shipping lines from Jakarta to, let's say, Mumbai. We don't have. We do have a small shipping connectivity from Belawan, our port in North Sumatra province, to Kochi, but this is small. This is small, amount of trade. We need bigger than that. India is our biggest buyer of coal. You see, but the shipment of Indonesian coal to India is conducted by the third party, by the Singapore, by the European companies. So I think if we want to grow, to expand our maritime connectivity, our seaborne trading, is to connect directly, no longer use the third party, because nobody can stop us. We are very close since the early years of civilization. So we need to stand up for this direct shipment between Indonesia and India, or India and Indonesia, because the product already there. That's my answer, sir.
Thank you very much. Because this question says a lot of implications, in the sense that 1,000 years back, the Odisha seafaring people were going from Odisha to Bali, Sumatra. So
Yes.
I am really surprised to find that why there is not a direct shipping contract between Jakarta and Mumbai. I think can you throw some light, or you can also do little amount of research that why the Paradip port of in Odisha, which is in the east coast of India, that is on the Bay of Bengal, is not connected to Jakarta or any Indonesian port. Though there was such a robust connection in the past, what has happened to that glory, the earlier glory? That is my uh, question.
Yes. You know, sir, that's that's connectivity is the ancient connectivity, and you know, we were colonized by Indonesia by the Dutch and India by the British, and then this colonial power changed this, you know, this link. And for Indonesia, actually we we were we were the biggest port, but when Singapore introduced by Raffles, suddenly uh, our trading capability, you know, going down, and now we see Singapore is the leading port in Southeast Asia. And then I think the similar is also in India. British took India capacity, the India capability, and India seafarers, and put into London, and then from London, they manage export import for India, and directed to Indonesia, using Singapore as the hub. So we 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 have to stand up for this, you know, sir, this ancient connectivity, maritime connectivity. Now it is time, I think, to revive our direct shipping routes. Let's say we start with Belawan, or with Jakarta, and or maybe with Surabaya. We need to conduct a sister port agreement, or whatever you name it. But at least we trying to revive our ancient connectivity.
Thank you. Thank you. Now there are two questions from Professor Vijay Sakuja. I am clubbing both the
Ah,
questions. So the first question is, do you see any convergences between AOIP and India's Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative? That is the first question. And the second question is, can you share update on ACEH to Port Blair Maritime Trade Corridor?
I think there's you know, a similarity between a Indian sorry, I forget the name, and our ASEAN outlook of on Indo-Pacific. I think they have you know, similarity. I think that's because Indonesia as as the biggest country in the ASEAN, have a strong understanding, a strong connections with India. for example, we have what former Indian ambassador to Jakarta, Mr. Hemant Singh. Mr. Hemant, Ambassador Hemant, is a frequent visitor to Jakarta and to discuss with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with our former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dino Patijalal. So I guess we have strong connectivity, strong intention with Indian foreign policy, as mentioned by Professor Vijay. And then the second questions, I think. Sorry, sir. What is the second question for Professor Vijay?
The second question, can you share update on ACEH to Port Blair Maritime Trade Corridor?
Okay. Port Blair. Yeah. So far, we don't have, not yet. I mean, we don't have asset yet. Actually, our Aceh province administration already conduct initial shipping connectivity, but in my observation, it is now on hold, because we don't have yet big amount of product, big amount of cargo to transport to Port Blair. And then I think from Port Blair, we don't see flow to send to Aceh, but the connectivity already there. I was one of people to ask Aceh provincial administration to open the trade corridor between Andaman and Sabang. I think Sabang island for the trade. So I think we have to push this initiative with more and more negotiation. And I think one idea to be considered is each embassy in India, in India and in Jakarta, we establish transport attaché to make this initial connectivity running more smooth. That my questions and my answers, sorry.
Thank you. There is another question from Sandeep Uni. How are India and Indonesia aligning their interests to promote a rule-based order in the Indo-Pacific, and what roles does maritime cooperation play in this context?
I think for me, India is can do more than Indonesia. India is a big country, and then also a partner of AUKUS, Quad, something like that. And Indonesia, as I earlier mentioned, that we are very nominal. So if you come to us with initiative, I think Indonesia can discuss it, and at some level, maybe we can involve in the rule-based order. For example, how uh, to protect military warship encounters like those happen between China and the Philippines Coast Guard vessels. Maybe Indonesia and India can do this, rule-based or the what we call CUESQs training, both for TNERL or our Navy and Indian Navy, and also our Coast Guard and Indian Coast Guard. I think we can do training, we can do exercise, and India, I think, is the suitable partner for Indonesia because we have a close relationship, we have share cultural heritage. I think we have so many good points to share.
Thank you. Thank you. Probably the same question is being asked by Mr. Bikram. Can you discuss the significance of the India-Indonesia partnership in developing the SAGAR, that is security and growth for all in the region initiative, SAGAR initiative?
Yes. Yeah. I remember I written this topic. The problem for Indonesia is we lack of funding, we lack of money. So if India want to engage more deeply with Indonesia in terms of saga, I think maybe India can involve more funding, more investment for Indonesia. For example, our Belawan port already in close cooperation with Dubai. Why Dubai? Why not India? That's my question, sir. India, because Dubai they have quite enough money, but I think India is if we can discuss it deeply, I think India can also be our partner. So I think India and Indonesia need to talk more and more, establish Indian or Indian Indonesia commerce chambers of commerce or whatever we name it, and then we need to do that because other country like Dubai, like Uni Emirate Arab, like China, they come to Indonesia and offer this. I mean, I don't want to say bad about India, but India can do that with more elegance. Because we have set set values, we have set future. So we need to talk. We need to discuss more.
Thank you. I think there are 2-3 more questions, but because we are running short of time, I think we will take the last questions. 1 minute, maybe. Just there are 2 more questions, but I think we should take one question. Sir, what is your point of view on the national strategy for maritime security released by the White House that states that the magnitude of the domain, particularly the Indo-Pacific region, complicates the task of maintaining security?
Yeah, that's for me. That's a typical America. America always talk about security. Meanwhile, for Indonesia, especially for Indonesia, we need more than security. As our president always says that we need investment. We need funding. So America, they please don't talk about security. Let's talk about investment. For example, we don't see American investment in Indonesia port business. We don't see American shipping lines transporting our export. So our export goes to China, goes to Shanghai, goes to Ningbo, and then from Shanghai sent to America. That's the trade pattern currently. But America always say security, security. So if America want to engage Indonesia and other ASEAN members country in his initiative is in its maritime domain, maritime security, whatever we call it, don't put front security. That's that's a kind of you show your power. You already big power, but we need more than that. I mean, as a developing countries, many ASEAN countries is needs more industry, more jobs to create. So I think America should change the wording of their their initiatives. I think if they can change their approach to India, to ASEAN, I think we can uh, uh, we can we can make a more safer, more friendly Indian Pacific region. That's my question and my answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Sishwanto. It is really a very wonderful interacting with you. 30 minutes talk followed by 30 minutes question answer is really scintillating. And many of the audience, they were uh, overtly, they were very, very appreciative of the way you handled the questions. And thank you so much for spending time with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We will be looking forward to a very comprehensive chapter on this topic. So in 20, when 25 lectures will be completed, then a annual commemorative volume on the topic of integrated maritime studies will be published from this university. So on behalf of everybody, I am extending a hearty vote of thanks to you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste. Sukriya.
Namaste, 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 Sukriya. So the meeting is over.